Hi everyone, and welcome to The Path to Reason. I'm your host Cindy Plaza, and tonight we're celebrating International Atheism Day with Teo el Ateo. Hi Teo, how are you
Hi,
doing?
hi, Cindy. I'm very happy to be here. I'm very excited, actually.
So we're going to talk about your channel in Spanish, which is called Nuestra Experiencia Atea. It's the same name as the Atheist Experience. Your goal is to do pretty much the same, I assume,
Well, yeah, the name is based on Deity's experience.
eventually.
Yeah, and yeah, it would
Eventually,
be
yeah.
amazing to be able to become or to make this into the Spanish version of Deity's experience, or at least get close to what they do. Um, Obviously, the name, as the name indicates, I am basing everything on what they have done so far. I have even actually translated a couple of their programs. I mean, not the whole show, just small pieces of it. For example, when I'm sure you remember the slavery trinity, when there were like three people calling mad at the same time trying to defend slavery. We translated that because it's pretty funny and it was a very interesting topic to talk about.
Yeah, yeah, I remember. So before we dive into this, I'm going to ask you the same question I ask my guests. We're going to talk about Teo el Ateo, Teo el the activist. But who is Teo the human being? Can you talk about yourself a little bit?
Yeah, of course. Well, I'm a guy who I went through all my process of deconversion alone. So I was one of those guys who thought I am the only atheist I know. Nobody else around me is an atheist. Um, my process was when I was at university, and the coincidence, my two best friends, one of them was a very strong Catholic guy who was very religious. The other one was a very strong evangelist who also is very religious, and they were my best friends. And so I was like, okay, they don't care about my atheism. I shouldn't care about about their beliefs. But I didn't have anyone to talk about. And well, I realized that being an atheist in a country where most people are religious is very lonely. And and that was until I found about the atheist experience. I don't even remember why I started watching them. It was just luck that I found them on the internet, and I realized that yeah, I found a place where to belong to, but I was only able to be there because I'm able to speak in English. But I come from a country where most people speak in Spanish. They don't speak English. So most people who are going through what I am going through, they don't have all the tools that now I have access to thanks to, the English language. And that's when I decided to become Teo el Ateo and start translating stuff from English to Spanish because I really, really think that there are many, many resources that are only available in English. And I think that I could help some people if I start translating them to Spanish.
Okay, interesting. So when did you create your channel?
Oh, this actually started last year. Yeah, just like many things due to COVID, I started staying more at home. Working from
Yeah.
home, and this actually was thanks to Eric Murphy. He started doing some live programs, and I started talking with him, and well, a lot of people were talking with him at the same time. And one of the many things that appeared on there was what we were doing about atheism and all of that. And well, he was talking a little bit about his experience as well. And that kind of gave me some inspiration. If he was talking about how he was starting doing things from, well, he started from zero and how he was now. And that kind of inspired me. And it made me start working with a little bit more on the atheist experience, and I met some people over there. And with time, I got enough tools to start doing this, and I decided to do it because it was time, because it was something that, and I think still think is something that has to be done. So that's how it all started, actually. a mixture of COVID, watching the Atheist Experience, interacting a little bit with Eric Murphy, and interacting with many volunteers from the ACA.
Yeah, you should ask him to come onto your show because he's very nice. He accepted to come to mine. So yeah, I think you should invite him.
Cool. Yeah, I will try to. I actually got him to read in Spanish for my show. So in one of my episodes, I have Eric Murphy speaking in Spanish for a couple of seconds. So that was pretty cool, I have to admit. It was awesome.
I'm sorry.
Oh no, I love that
He's,
that cat.
he's taking some weird positions.
It looks
Okay,
so sweet.
so the more you talk, the more I realize that you and I have very very similar paths because basically you are doing what you're doing because you realize that there is a lot of valuable content produced by the ACA and you want to give it to people talking your language, and that's the beginning of my process too.
That's cool.
Yeah, and
So
and yeah, go ahead.
no, please keep going.
No, no. I mean, I created this channel because after some talks with Ethan Michael, and but the reason why was that I learned a lot about critical thinking, and that's the purpose of my channel. And so I wanted to transmit that to the French audience because there is a lot of content out there to teach critical thinking to English-speaking people, but very, very little to French and Spanish people, right?
Yeah, I haven't found any equivalent to the Atheist Experience. I tried to find an equivalent, and well, when I couldn't find it, somebody told me, "Why don't you create the equivalent?" And I was like, "How am I going to create it?" And that's how it all started. Yeah, how can I create something like the Atheist Experience? I may not become, maybe my channel is never going to be as big as the Atheist Experience, but if I can start a spark and more people can join and those people can become a huge success, that would be amazing. If I cannot be the big shot, at least start a spark so people can start doing this. People realize that atheism are not baby eating monsters, we have a day of the atheism today for a reason. People feel afraid of being an atheist. I still remember once somebody asked me about my religion, and back at the time I said I was an agnostic, and somebody literally told me, "Oh yeah, that word is a word by the devil, and the Bible hates it." It's like, what? It's not even in the Bible. Don't you know your history? Christians used to be atheists. So yeah, even agnostic is people like feel bad about you, feel that you're evil and terrible. So yeah, we have to demonstrate people that no, we are regular people. We are not a religion. We are not a group that is trying to do evil things. We are just people who realize that this makes no sense, and well, even maybe people come here and tell us, why does this make sense for you? Maybe you can convince us. Maybe I am wrong and there is a God, but you have to convince me. If you can do it, do it. But open the gates to talk with people and to show them that, hey, atheists are not, the close-minded people that you want to believe, because we have to be sincere. There are people out there who dislike atheists for some reason, especially money.
Yeah, but you mentioned a little bit about this. So the idea is not only to give access to the content, but also to create a community.
Yeah, actually.
And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and if possible, link this community to the community built by the ACA because there are already a lot of viewers, and this online community is quite big. And if we could, because that's my goal too, I'm discovering that there's a small community already around critical thinking in France, and some of them already watch the ACS shows, but we need to link those communities.
Yeah, we have this goal also of, yeah, getting those people who also watch the ACA and make them part of what we do. um, I have been working now recently with Recurrent from Religion. I think you have as well, because they also want to bring what they do to the Spanish speaking world. And I really want to, if I could, join Nuestra Experiencia Atea, the Atheist Experience, and Recurrent from Religion, and we could all work together. That would be extremely amazing. I would like to mention that on Facebook we are starting this community called Nuestra Experiencia Atea as well. So if you speak Spanish and you want to join us, please find us on Facebook. We are there. We are always getting new people. We're starting to grow. So I hope I hope one day we can be a huge community. And there is one thing about communities in Spanish, because I have seen a couple of them, but they are always very polarized. They are very political. They are sometimes nationalistic because they are from only one specific country. What I want to make with Nuestra Experiencia Atea and make it special is to make a community without a nationality. So, yeah, if you ask me what my nationality is, I am from the internet. That's my nationality. Because I want people not to feel that they are going to be part of one country. So if they hate another country, somebody from another country is going to have problems with them. No, we want to create a positive community, and we're always talking about positive atheism, how to spread positive atheism, because, yeah, there are a couple of communities about atheism in Spanish, but they tend to be very toxic because of those reasons. So the idea is to create a good community, but always promoting positive atheism. So obviously, always having a positive community that is always open to dialogue.
Yeah, I have a brother who lives in Spain. Sorry, he's been living there for about 10 to 12 years, I would say, and he, just like me, he grew up in a non-religious environment because France is very secular, but also very little religious. The amount of people who are religious is very low. So we talked about it a few times, and he says that just like here in Belgium, a lot of people in Spain are what we call cultural religious people. They don't really believe in God or in the Bible, uh, but they ascribe to all the social aspect of it, like going to the church, all the baptism, all the celebrations. They do it because it's also a moment to gather with family, friends, and all that. And Latin people tend to be to want to do things in big numbers. I would say. I mean, in France or in Spain, in Italy too, you have these local big events very often. What do you think?
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure that people who consider them Catholic, they are the same. They go to churches once in a while. They try to celebrate some stuff. Over here, for example, they on the internet, they tend to be very very, Catholic people. They tend to go to church and all of that, but they go like once a month, once every 2 months, a couple of times during the year, and that's it. However, evangelical people, they tend to be more extremist, to call it one way. They are like they are always going to the church. They are always giving the 10% of their income to the church. So they are more, yeah, I will say closer to how people are in the USA, where they tend to be more into that line. But yeah, Catholic people tend to be like what you say. They go there for the community mostly, and yeah, people like to talk, like to join other people in order to make community.
What's the ratio between Catholics and evangelists where you live?
Hmm. I'm not quite sure. I would dare to say like 50% Catholic and 40% evangelist, but evangelical people, they are always on the street shouting at other people and, doing more stuff. While Catholic people, they tend to have their own huge events, like, I don't know, walking down the street on Christmas, or when the Pope is going to be visiting, they're going to make huge stuff, or they have their own kind of celebrations where they gather together. And at church, on churches, they have their own groups. I think Boy Scouts are religious as well, so there is that. So you kind of tend to see more evangelical people because they are louder about what they do. But Catholic people, we have a lot of them, and they tend to have huge gatherings as well.
Okay, that reminds me that in Spain there's this huge cathedral that's been being built for, I don't know, it's 117 years in Barcelona. No,
Um,
you haven't heard of it?
not really. You should have to tell me about that. I haven't heard about it.
Yeah, it's a massive cathedral. Yeah, it's a cathedral, and yeah, it's been built for over a century, and we have this expression in French that says it won't take 107 years, meaning it won't take very long, and that references to the time it took to build the Notre Dame in Paris. And now you have this cathedral that's still not finished, and it's still being built after 117 years.
Oh,
It's the
yeah,
Sagrada Familia.
yeah, I think I've heard about that. Actually, I've heard about several cathedrals that people or the Catholic Church keep asking for money in order to build certain small churches, and you never hear about them being built. They just keep asking for money in different places or different countries. Yeah, I don't want to
No,
use the word scam, but they tend to
no,
ask
this
for a
one
lot of money.
yeah, this one is real, and it's gorgeous. Honestly, if you look at the pictures, it's called the Sagrada Familia, and look at the pictures, it's really gorgeous. But yeah, it's still it's like a pregnancy that will last over a century. That's yeah, it's kind of amazing, that the will to build such a building lasts for so long. That's still amazing to me.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've heard about La Sagrada Familia, but I thought it was ready. I had no idea it's still being built.
I
Crazy.
think you could visit part of it, the part that's finished, but it's not entirely finished.
Yeah, I've heard about it, but I didn't know about that. But you made me think. Do you remember that cathedral that burned? It was Notre Dame, wasn't it?
Yeah,
That burned
yeah, it
last
was
year.
Notre Dame. Yeah,
Yeah, and it was well, a lot of people were giving money around the world, and at the same time, the Amazons was burning, and nobody cared about it. I'm still hurt by that.
yeah, me too, me too. Even though it's a national legacy, it's one of the oldest and the most beautiful thing we have in France. I think there's been too much money put on that but the problem is still the same. You have we tend to care more about things that are close to us than things that are far away. And the Amazon forest, nobody have seen it. And when Notre Dame, some people are living right next to it. They visited it. So yeah, it's proximity is a very big influencer in these matters.
I totally understand. I'm still deeply hurt by that because people who has seen the Amazon forest were still sending money over there and not caring about the Amazon forest. And look here in the chat, somebody Samurang he wrote here in Puerto
Yeah.
Rico they reopened a Catholic church that had been worked for 20 and was made in the 115s. Wow. So the Catholic Church in most South American countries they have built beautiful, beautiful churches. They are huge. But if you think about how much money it was spent there and how it must have affected the communities, it's kind of painful as well, really.
Yeah, I totally agree. I remember when Google mapped the Amazon River. Did you remember that? They sent some boats all over the river, and they mapped it as much as I could, and then they published a lot of photos they took during this. And I remember one of the pictures. There was it was like favelas. It was a village made of pieces of wood of anything, and right next to this you have one beautiful church. So you have people living in garbages, and they still give their money to build a church, and
Yeah,
that's yeah.
I want to make an episode about that. The big mega church, Golden. I think it's a Golden Palace. I don't remember the name, but they right in over there in Brazil. They in the middle of the favelas, you see all the misery around, and in the middle this huge golden castle that is going to be a mega church. And I think in that case it's an evangelical church and it's huge. It's terrible. I have some pictures over there. I should have be prepared to show them, but I want to make a whole episode about that. How in the middle of the most poor place of the city, you have this huge, huge, huge mega church, and it was made with the money of those people. It's not even that okay. Yeah, of course, the government gave money to the church instead of helping people, but they went and they also took the money of these poor people. So
Yeah.
yeah, it always
And mean
it's terrible seeing how poor people are the ones who give the most to these institutions. And I have talked about it. They are brain. No, no, no. I'm not going to say brainwashed. I was thinking about it, but it's not that. It's they have been raised with this idea that you have to give and that the Lord will provide. So your children can be starving, but you still have to give money to the church because the Lord will provide. And that is one of the many harms that religion does to people. And yeah, I want to my program I keep talking about the harms of religions because there are many, many of those. And I think that people don't talk about them either because talking about what religion does is going to be considered evil. It's like you are going to be censored. So doesn't matter what you if you talk about the issues and the problems that religion provoke, people are going to be offended. You are going to be called for being, I don't know, hateful, for talking against something that is supposed to be a force of good. But when you analyze everything that religion does, most of what they do is evil, and the few little good things that they do can be done without the belief in a God, without giving money to the churches. And that is
exactly. Yeah.
something that I want to I want to talk about through this NEA, Nuestra Experiencia Atea.
So what's the future for this channel? What do you have in plans?
Oh, I have no idea about that. I keep trying stuff. I keep trying to, I don't know, see what people want to see. I'm always open to experiment new stuff. I have been interviewing some amazing people. I have been talking about several things that have been going on. As I mentioned, recovering from religion. Last episode was about recovering from religion, what they do, and the possibility of them to be brought to the Spanish-speaking world. And I guess that for now I want to do that, show the world what atheists are doing, and at the same time talk about the harms of religions. And if I can translate one or another, one, a couple of the AXP episodes and talk about that, I would be happy to do that as well.
Yeah, I think they would like to expand, because even in the US there are a lot of people who speak Spanish as a primary language. So and those people tend to live in the South, where religion oppression is the strongest. So I think there's a true benefit for the ACA to reach to the Spanish community.
Yeah, yeah, all those people living in the Bible Belt, they need Spanish. They need a community able to be with them. I don't know if those people, uh, I guess most of them can speak English as well, but if they can't, it would be awesome to have them in a community that is made for people who actually mostly don't speak English. Many of the volunteers that are helping me now, yeah, they do speak both languages, but most posts in the Facebook group and most things that we do are made considering people who do not speak in English, because, well, because that's the target for Nuestra Experiencia Atea. People who cannot have all the several resources that we get because we're speaking English. And I know that the ACA would like to have presence in here as well. So if I can help them in any way possible, of course I want to do it. And I want to get attention to Samuran again. He's saying that this friend of his told him that COVID-19 was a spiritual sickness. So there you have another huge harm of religion, how it
Yeah.
teaches you to hate science, practically.
So how exactly do you die, and why do you die of a spiritual sickness? I mean, how is that possible?
Come on, don't you know anything about the devil? He can do everything because of magic and, I don't know, evil
Yeah,
spirits,
yeah,
I guess.
yeah. I'm also pondering creating a call-in show in French, but I'm not sure there's enough audience for that in the French-speaking world. I know that France and Belgium don't have a big religious community. We have damn, I don't remember their name right now. Jehovah Witnesses. Maybe there's a few dozen, a few hundreds people we could help, because they are part of this cult. Because in French, it's considered a cult, and maybe we could help those people. But I don't know if there's enough concern about religion in France and Belgium for it to be the need for such a show. I don't know yet.
Well,
Maybe I'll just try and see how it goes.
yeah, you should try it. Remember, there are a lot of people who are in different situations because they don't know that there is another way of living. I always like to use the analogy of the tool that you don't know how to use. So you can have a specific tool, but if you have no idea how to use the tool, it's useless. Maybe you have everything around you to live a life free of religion, but you are so inside this cult that you have no idea how to live without it, or you would have no way to live without it because you would have no friends, no family, no nothing, and you don't know that there is a world out there. So I think that actually you and I, what we are trying to do is to show people that, hey, your religion is not the only thing. There are other ways to live without religion. Like when people say, well, if you don't have God, what do you have? And I think it was Matt Dulahanty, the one who said that is like asking if you don't have, if you stop being a slave, then who is going to be your owner or something like that.
Yeah, yeah, I remember.
So so yeah, it's like that. People don't realize that it is possible to live without a god. It is possible to live without religious ideas, and those all the religious ideals that they believe that are given only by religion, they have a secular explanation, and we also follow them. We are not atheists because we want to sin, and you won't be an atheist because you want to sin as well. As Samurai is saying in the chat, yeah, it is lonely,
It's
but I think
lonely.
that
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah. I was saying what he wrote. Yeah, it's true, and even an online community can't help uh, that much. Sometimes you need also people around you physically to go for a drink, to yeah, most set you aside. Yes, most religions, and even though they don't set you aside on purpose, the fact that you don't believe means that you don't participate anymore in the community side of the religion, and that's what we were talking about earlier. So yeah, it's uh, it's very
Yeah,
hard to leave religion.
it's terrible. You lose everything. You're dead to people sometimes. Some evangelical parents kick their children out because of this. I think that's why. Well, I have talked about before about why recovering from religion is so important, because when you realize that this world makes no sense, you are totally alone. But I think that what you and I are doing is going to be a good help for those people who are in there on the fence. They maybe a lot of people stop believing. They don't believe in a god or their religion at all. They're like just okay, yeah, I don't believe in this, but I have to keep faking it. They fake it until you make it,
Mhm.
because everybody else around them is going to believe in that religion. So we have to show them that there are other people out there who don't believe. We are not evil. We are not all toxic. We are not in the angry atheist phase. And there is a community for people who don't believe, and we want to help each other. I think most of us want to help each other. At least Nia wants to help you people. We are making this community in order to do that. So I think that you and I are doing a great job in, well, if we reach people, in telling them, guys, you're not alone. Guys, there is a community for you, and you are not evil for not believing. And the bad things that they have told you about atheism are mostly not true. I, I think that that's why you should, even if you are not sure how big your public is going to be, you should still go for it.
So how do you address the paradox that atheism is not a belief, but we need to gather around something that doesn't exist?
Mm, well, wait. A paradox. What is the paradox?
Well, when religious people tend to say that atheism is a religion, and we say no, it's not a religion because we lack belief in gods. But then we say we need to gather as atheists. So what do we gather around? What concept, what idea do we gather around? If there's nothing, if there's no God, then
Well, you know what? I haven't even thought too hard about that. If somebody asks me what is my goal, my goal is to show people who don't believe that there is a word in here for them. And I actually, I personally oppose the harms that are made in the name of something that, according to me, doesn't exist, or that I have never seen proven to exist. So my personal goal would be to go to show people the harm that religions in general are making in this world. But yeah, the idea of gathering, um, I think that we gather to help each other, because we have all been harmed in one way or another due to religion, due to those toxic and evil ideas that religion imposes on our society. I'm sure you can talk about that more than I can, but I'm sure both of us have seen the consequences of a religious society. So I think that we gather not to believe in something, we gather to help each other, because we all have been harmed and we all need support sometimes. So in my case, and my idea for this community that I'm trying to start is, we gather to support each other and to help each other, not because we believe or not believe, because according to beliefs, we don't agree in anything at all. I love this idea. Somebody said that trying to not control, trying to organize atheists is the same that trying to herd cats. Nobody, everybody has their own agenda, so it's totally impossible. And I believe that, and I love that idea. We are not here because we are atheists. We are here because we want to help atheists, we want to help each other, and we want to help others who are going through what we went through. I had to go through a lot, and there was no community, there was nothing. I went alone through that, so I had a lot of doubts, and many questions weren't answered until years later. So I think it's important that we have people out there who have been going through this and who have maybe not the right answer, but who do have some answers to this. So I think that in that paradox that you mentioned, religious people try to see a paradox where there isn't one, because we don't gather around the non-belief. According to me, we gather in order to help each other and help people who are being harmed by this belief. That's my
Yeah,
take on
and
that.
maybe there's another approach that we could take is to separate beliefs and religion, because religion is an organization and it's set up around the belief, but there are two different things. You can believe in a god and not want to be part of a religion. I know a few people in France who are like this. They see the harm that the organizations do, and so they keep their beliefs, but they don't want to be part of those organizations. And maybe just it's just an idea, but maybe we could help those people to give them a community too, because they are somehow left over from religions.
That's a very interesting point. I well, from the beginning, I said that we would be open to talk with religious people, but I hadn't even thought about people who want to believe, but they do not want to be part of a religion. Um, yeah, I guess you make a very valid point in there. Um, I I guess we would have to see how they are going to still justify some awful stuffs that are said in the holy books. It doesn't matter which book you're talking about, but yeah, it's very interesting. I hadn't actually thought about that. That atheists could be groups open to people who want to believe, but they don't want to be part of a religion. That's a very interesting take on that. I really like it. I like your point of view, Cindy. Very, very good.
Thanks. The thing is, we've seen a lot of harms done by the Catholic Church in the last 50 years, between the nuns that let children die, the priests, rapists, the pedophiles, all those the priests that what was it? They sold the nuns as prostitutes, something like that. Yeah, it's the harm that came out in the last 50 years. It's amazing. And when you know that we teach in history about the Crusades, about the Inquisition, about the witches, about all that. So we know that they've been doing a lot of harm in the last 1,000 years, and still we have people who are surprised and who are angry when we say, "Oh, look, this is happening now," and they're trying to cover it, and they seem to be surprised, but it's just what they've been doing since the beginning.
Yeah, and I wish I could say, and it's only the Catholic Church, but no, evangelists have been doing the
Yeah,
same stuff. Jehovah Witnesses, they in Australia, they had this huge issue where they were protecting pedophiles as well, and they didn't want to cooperate with the government. The same happened with different evangelical churches. I had some numbers out there about the millions of victims that have been whose cases have been covered by religions. So yeah, it's awful, and we keep seeing those. And I have to admit, whenever I see a case of a Catholic Church and pedophilia, I'm always surprised how people can keep giving their money to the church. Some people have told me, hey, but it's different because the Catholic Church does other things as well. They help people, but people, they are raping children. They are protecting pedophiles. How can you separate both things? For me, it's kind of shocking.
And then they will try to argue that abortion is a bad thing. So raping a child is not a bad thing, but making sure a child that's not wanted is born is a bad thing. I I think
Yeah,
that's just yeah.
and show them the part in the Bible where God teaches how to make an abortion, and they will say that it's taken out of context, or talk about, I don't know, the big flood where all babies were killed, or Sodom. Oh, wait, in Spanish they are Sodoma y Gomorra. In English,
Hmm?
Sodoma and Gomorrah as well.
Yeah, it's the same basically.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool. Yeah, they babies were killed with fire from the sky. Come
mm.
on, God is the worst baby killers in history in Egypt. So his own son. There is a pattern in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
So yeah, abortion is the evil thing.
All the firstborns of Egypt.
Yeah. Oh well, maybe not all of them were babies, but yeah,
Yeah,
if one of them was the first baby, poor baby. So yeah, there is a huge oh, I forgot the word in English. So this connection when you are able to believe one thing, that one thing is
cognitive
evil.
dissonance.
Sorry.
Cognitive dissonance.
Yes, that is what I was going for. Cognitive dissonance. So yeah, if people try to give women the right to choose on her own body, that's terrible. But of course, priests raping babies, it's okay. God's killing people and babies, it's okay. It's awful. It's just terrible. I think there should be, or we have to find a way to fight cognitive dissonance. And I don't even know if it's a worth fight, but if it's worth it. But it saddens me. That's the point.
Yeah, just to be clear, the ability we have to separate things that seem to be contradictory, that's compartmentalization. But when you have two opposing views that cause trouble or something in your mind, that's cognitive dissonance. It's when you see those two opposing views and they are in conflict and you don't know how to solve that conflict, then that's cognitive dissonance. But the idea that you can separate two opposite things and still work normally as a human, that's compartmentalization.
Oh, I didn't know that. Thank you. I will have to study it a little bit. But yeah, I meant cognitive dissonance. Okay, this is evil if you do it, but if the God does it, it's not evil.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, it's yeah. Go
oh,
ahead.
no, I just wanted to ask you about the problems that you have had with translating content to French, because I don't know. I want to know if we have been going through the same stuff while doing this, or if it's been somehow different.
So I don't translate directly content from English to French, but on my channel, when there's a topic that I think is valid on both sides, I make a video in English and then the same video basically in French. Um, I know it's annoying for those in my audience who speak both languages, but it's not the case for everyone. And yeah, I think it needs to be done sometimes. When basically what I do is when I think that an issue is more prominent in the US, then I do an episode in English, and if it's in French, then the episode is in French. My next episode that would be in both languages will be about surrogacy. That's a big topic right now in France, and there's been also talks about this in the US because their system is not ideal, we could say. So I'm going to talk about that in two different videos. But yeah, I don't translate directly from English to French.
Oh, cool. I still think what you do is great. I whenever I have done a couple of things like that, but when I have the original in English, I don't post it to my channel because my channel is only for Spanish speaking people. So I just release it on Facebook, and there you have the version in English, and here you have the version in Spanish if you want it. But I think what you do is very, very interesting, and yeah, it's it's interesting what you're doing actually, and I think I should try to copy you, but obviously not posting the part in English on on YouTube.
What you can do is what we do sometimes when we want to address and yeah, address arguments in a video. You can show the video in the background without the sound, or even with the sound but at a very low level, and then talk about what the person says. Usually we do that to debunk videos, but you can do it to give the content to your audience in your language.
Yeah, I should try that. Usually, I we actually translate the video, and then I have a couple of volunteers who do the voice over. So I don't know. It kind of feels more natural. But if one day I cannot do it, I might do what what you are telling me. I think it's a good
it,
idea.
it yeah, it feels natural because you, just like me, you grew up in a country where movies are subbed. So in your language, you never listen to the original version. You already have a subbed version, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think you mean dubbed, but yeah, you're
Yeah.
totally right. So yeah, we're used to that, so it goes
Yeah,
natural.
maybe that's why you're more familiar with this technique. But what I'm proposing is a different approach. On one side, you have, okay, this is what something said. I give it to you verbatim, exactly what they said. On the other hand, you can talk about a topic and give your own perspective and maybe adapt it to your public.
Hmm. Trust me, I'm taking notes on this. I will be following your advice because I think it's very sound, and it's you have seem to be doing pretty well with with it. So yep, sound advice. I should follow it.
Cool. So what do you? Yeah. What's the hardest part in this translation for you?
Having the time to do
Yeah.
it. In the beginning I was translating, then I got some people to translate for me, and now they don't have much time, so I cannot ask them to translate way too many things. Luckily I found a person who is going to help me with some future translations, so that will be a great help. But yeah, finding somebody who you can trust, who can do a good translation, is kind of the hardest part in here, because I have some amazing volunteers who are helping me with the voices if we have enough time. Um, I would say that time is the biggest enemy in this case. Yeah, for everything that we do, time is the biggest enemy, especially now that all of us are, working in different schedules, working with different schedules in different countries. It's crazy. So time is the biggest enemy right now.
Yeah, and time zones also are a big enemy.
Yeah, no, time zones are crazy. I mean, I can start trying to fall asleep, and suddenly somebody's talking to me. Once I remember one of my longest talks, it was 3 a.m. and somebody was talking to me, so we started talking, and we're like 2 hours on the phone. It wasn't very good for me, but luckily next day it was free, so I could do that once.
Yeah, that's basically the reason why I only do live shows. It's because, first of all, it's because I have no expertise and no, I've never edited a video. and I don't. It's not something I want to do because I'm not really creative. So I think the live version is more in line with my personality and my skills, and also the fact that yeah, for the moment I don't have the strength to spend too much time, sorry, on one video. Because
Oh,
yeah, when you translate a video, if the video is 2 hours long, then it means you have at least 4 hours of listening it and translating, because sometimes you didn't hear properly the right word, or you know. So yeah, I think you need to find what's best for you, and the tools you like to use, and the time you have.
yeah. No, what you think? What you are doing is great. Oh, sorry. Samurang Kwando, for him, it's 7:20 p.m. Oh, nice. We don't have many hours of difference. Me, I don't know about you.
To me, it's midnight
Oh,
past, so
it is a big difference.
it is. Yeah, yeah. We have 4 hours difference, but the worst is with Americans. We have 7 hours for those who are in Texas and Chicago and all that. So yeah, it's pretty challenging, and it's also a problem because I can't watch all the shows live as I would like to. And that's a problem because sometimes I want to participate in the after parties or things like that. But I remember I did one with after near the Six of Four Atheists show, and it ended up around 5, almost 6 in the morning. So
Wow.
from 10:30 or 11 to 5 in the morning, 5 or 6 in the morning. So yeah, I can do that. I cannot do that every week. Obviously, I cannot do that on a weekday if I'm working. So yeah, it complicates things.
I can feel you during the week. Usually, I don't have much time, so I'm editing videos on Saturday and Sunday. Last video, uh, last video I have was an interview I did on Sunday, 9 a.m. for me, and I finished it like at 9 p.m. So obviously that day I didn't watch any of the live shows of the AACs, ACA. So I totally understand your pain. I totally feel you. But yeah, I like
Yeah.
this. I like being on live without a script, without thinking about how I'm going to edit this later. No, this is just natural. This is it, people. If you have
Yes.
questions, here we are.
Yes, and that's also the part I like in this live way I use, is that because I talk naturally, I don't follow a script. Sometimes I take notes and I follow them a little bit, but it's just chapters or ideas I want to talk about. But yeah, I'm a very natural and honest person. So I want to express exactly what I feel and not just read a script.
Yeah, that's amazing. I respect that. I love it, and I love your style. So I feel it's great. Uh, I I can only imagine how it would be if this was on live, like when the AXP is, and you look at the chat and you have like hundreds of people talking at the same time. That must be crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I'm a mod on the YouTube shows, and Tokhiden is relatively quiet on that side. But yeah, AXP, it's a nightmare, and when there is a trans person on the show, it's 10 times worse.
Ouch! I can imagine. And
Yeah,
yeah, Samurang, he feels lonely in the chat. Oh, poor guy. Yeah,
yeah. There,
it's
there are two people watching, so someone is here hiding.
really. Maybe it's
Yeah,
me. Did I open this in another? I don't think so.
no, no, it's
Well,
it's not you.
we have a we have somebody who is hiding. Oh,
Now they left.
oh, you called them out. You scared them.
Yeah,
So,
So, what
oh no,
is there
please go.
anything specific you want to talk about regarding your content in Spanish, or the way you perceive the content created in English?
Um, oh, we
Hi,
have
Liquid
somebody in the
Sunshine.
chat. Liquid Sunshine. Hi, nice to see you. Um, well, about our content, just to say that we are open to new stuff and trying to do new stuff. So I open to it. I actually wanted to ask you some questions because you just told me that
Sure,
how when there is a trans person, everything gets crazy. Do you want to talk about that? Is something that you'd like
sure.
to talk about?
Yeah,
Because I don't have much experience during the topic, even though I have befriended some trans people, but well, people. uh,
yeah. You can
I,
ask
I
anything. Go ahead.
I tend not to ask much about gender because, well, it's their life. So I don't know. For what I've seen a lot of transphobic people, despite the fact that they are atheists, and I have been talking this with other people. I think it's because they are raised in a very religious environment, and you have seen the Pope talking badly about everything that is not heterosexuality. So they always grow hating anyone who is different. And I think that when they leave religion, sometimes they leave only the part of the God they believe in, but they don't leave the rest of the baggage. Do you feel that? Do you believe that's the reason, or do you think that there are other reasons out there?
I think that's one of the reasons. Yes, for sure. It's probably the most prominent reason. I think one of the other reasons is that humans tend to go to simple ideas. So when we don't understand something, we will be attracted by the most simple explanation. So that's why this idea that there are only two genders is so ingrained in people, and it's so hard to debunk it. It's also, I think, because it's so simple that people have been adopting it for forever, and it's so simple that they can't imagine that it's not true. And
Hmm.
I think that's the same reason why the current Christian God is so popular in and why so many apologists are trying to defend him. It's because this God has been created to be the answer to everything. So of course he is the answer for everything. So every time you wonder something, then you have the answer, and that's so comforting. And because again, we need simple answers as human beings. We need to make efforts to go and search for complicated answers. You should read the book written by Kahneman. It's called the two. I I remember the title in French, but not in English. It's basically it says that we have two ways of thinking. One, yeah, the title is "Thinking Fast and Slow." So we have this quick thinking that we developed during our evolution because for a very long time speed was more important than accuracy. We needed to make quick decisions, and if they were wrong, they had less impact than if they were slow. So we developed this way to think very very fast and to adapt our behavior and our actions to this thinking. But then we also have this ability to think through things and for hours, for days, for weeks, and that's the slow method that brings more truth than speed. You understand that balance between speed and precision.
Um, well, yeah, I guess the thing of the speed is directly related to survival instincts. This idea
Yeah.
that we have fear because if something if there is a sound on the bushes, it's better to believe that it's a tiger and run away than start thinking, is it a
Mhm.
tiger? Is it not? And
Yeah.
wait for your death. So yeah, I understand. And actually, your explanation is very good. And I think that would explain my biggest enemy, conspirationists, people who prefer not to understand how vaccines works. And yeah, they are evil and cause autism than trying to understand what a virus is. So yeah, yours is a very good point, and I'm glad that I asked you that. It's a wonderful answer. Thank you.
Thanks. Do you had any other question?
Actually, I think that that was the most important question that I've had recently, and I have been thinking about. So no, that is enough. I think it's you're the perfect person to answer that because you see this every single show, and there's a huge history about the AXP, yeah, AXP related to this issue. So yeah, I think you were the best person to answer why people behave like that.
Probably not. I think the best person I know that would give you the perfect but 1 hour long answer would be Shannon Q. She knows much more about psychology and neuroscience than I ever will. So she will give you a much better, much precise answer.
Oh yeah, but she hasn't called me yet. Let's say yet. Yeah, sure. Even though I love Sharon's style, actually, I in one episode when I talk about the soul, I use one of her fragments when she explains how the brain works and why there is no possibility of a brain in there. Because I really
Hmm?
like her style and I really loved how she explained everything in there. So yeah, I do respect her a lot.
Yeah, yeah, me too. She's probably my in my top three YouTubers, atheist YouTubers.
Cool. I should start following her more often then. And tell her that if she wants me, I'm available to be to talk with her as well. Now I've seen her style and it's awesome.
Okay, so we've passed the 1 hour mark.
Awesome.
If you don't have any more questions, so hi IQ. He says accuracy is predominantly most useful for predators. Speed is always important as a defense mechanism. Yeah,
You're totally right,
yeah, that's
IQ.
true. That's something I didn't mention. Yeah, accuracy is more important for predators because the success rate of their hunts uh, impacts their survival. But on the other side, yeah, you need more speed and maybe also intelligence and adaptation than accuracy.
Yeah, the prey has to be always alert, and yeah, if the predator fails, it's going to use all its energy and just starve to death. So
Yeah,
yeah, you're totally right,
yeah.
IQ.
That's another reason why we spend 90% of our day in fast mode and only about 10% in slow mode. It's because fast mode doesn't consume almost energy. So we couldn't we couldn't and we couldn't live really if we pondered every single decision we make every day. Like when you drive to your job, for example, you take probably 30, 50 decisions. So yeah, it would be impossible.
You know what? That's something very interesting, and I think this is another answer to that paradox you're asking for. For me personally, or asking about, sorry. For me personally, these atheist groups, a lot of people know a lot of things that I don't. So whenever there is an interesting issue, I learn something new. And for me, that's a reason more than enough to join these groups because you always learn something new, something interesting. If you're wrong, people are going to tell you that you're wrong and why. Not always the case, but I've seen a lot of interesting and smart people who are there to correct you and to teach you new stuff. So that's another reason why we get together in here with other atheists to learn. And many of us had very wrong ideas in the past, so to learn and learn about new stuff.
Yeah, yeah. it's what brought me to this area, because 10 years ago I was not aware about anything about religion, about critical thinking, about all this stuff. I didn't know anything about it, and I've been introduced to a forum called rationalskepticism.org, and I met some people who taught me so much that everything I know today, I know it because of them, and because of the people I met because of them, and so on. But yeah, that's, yeah, meeting one person who introduced me to this forum, and the result is you and I here tonight. So yeah, it's the most important thing you need to have is the will to know, and the will to change and to update your knowledge as you go. As long as you have this, you'll be great.
Yeah, it's like, well, there is part of my the conversion is because I studied with the Jehovah Witnesses, and they taught me a lot of science. But I don't know if really call it science, but back in the day it was the only thing I knew. So yeah, for me, obviously evolution was a lie, and the earth was only 6,000 years old because the Bible said so, and there was evidence. Yeah, sure. So there is one thing about science that I learned with time that I really, really like. That science realizes that it's wrong. Well, science is a tool, obviously. It doesn't do anything. But people who do science, yeah, they realize that they may be wrong. And it's always amazing for a scientist to discover that they are wrong and to update and fix stuff. But in religion, it's all the opposite. In religion, you have to close your mind and nothing can be wrong, because if one thing is wrong, then everything that you have been taught is a lie, which is actually why I ended up becoming an atheist, because I realized that there were many things that were wrong. So I was actually under the religious thought back at the time.
Yeah, because and if you look at Christianity, for example, I think it's the religion that has the the least solid basis, because all Christianity is based around Christ, and the Christ is important because of his sacrifice. His sacrifice is important because of original sin, and original sin is the result of Adam and Eve eating the fruit. So if you don't believe that Adam and Eve truly existed, then the entire religion and the entire belief and the entire Bible just collapses.
Yeah, sorry, did you say Jehovah Witnesses or Catholic religion? I think I got.
No, no, I said Christianity in general.
Uh, but Christianity does believe that in Adam and Eve, don't they? No, who doesn't believe in Adam and Eve?
Well, they all do at a certain degree. Some say they were historical people. Some say they are just an allegory. But all in all, they still believe in the concept, even though they don't necessarily believe in the humans.
Hmm. Well, yeah, I, I, I think I didn't get your idea completely, because yeah, I agree with everything you say. So yeah, of course, without Adam and Eve, yeah, religion makes no sense. Everything makes no sense. So I guess that's why they hate evolution and science so much.
Yeah. Okay, so if you don't have any more questions, even for this little baby, we're going to wrap this up. So, oh damn, I forgot to give a link to your channel on this video. I did it on the first one, but I forgot to do it on this one. So, can you remind people where they can find you?
Oh, sure. Thank you so much. Well, people, if you really are interested in a Spanish community where we try to go with positive atheism, you can find us on Facebook as Nuestra Experiencia Atea. just like that, you're going to find us right away. And on YouTube, we have the channel Nuestra Experiencia Atea. Same thing. I'm going to be posting videos, and maybe we'll leave a message later in here on your video using Nuestra Experiencia Atea so people can follow that as well.
Sure, sure. Okay. So thanks again for everyone who watched us and who will one day maybe watch us. It was very nice having you tonight. I really like your enthusiasm and what you want to do in the future. So I hope you will have a lot of success. And I truly hope that you and I we can link our initial community, I would say, you Spanish and me French, to this big community that the ACA created in the world, because it's not just the US, it's in the world. So there's a comment by Inquisitive Quandary. He says the religious views of Native American tribes makes more rational sense. In my opinion, they worshipped what they saw, added some spiritual aspects, but was all to living things, at least. Yeah, they have those totem who were animals, and they were given some special powers. So yeah, it's more down to earth religion, and I think that those beliefs were not as harmful as Christianity or Islam can be.
Yeah.
So thanks.
Oh.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yeah, I totally agree with you. I was thinking about some Inuit mythology as well. That their whole idea is to respect the nature, even though they hunt and kill animals. They consider them good spirits, so they are thankful. And yeah, it's better. And IQ, thank you for for your comments.
Yeah, thanks all for being here, and I will see you probably next week or this Friday. I don't know yet. But in the meantime, if you want to support my channel, I don't have a Patreon set up, but you can help my channel by buying me a book on my Amazon wishlist, which is in the link of this video. You also have my link tree, which has all my social media accounts. So if you have any question or any topic you would like to see addressed, don't hesitate to send me a message, and I will talk about it. No worries. And again, thank you everyone, and see you next time.
Thank you. Bye bye.